three things that you want to apply this process to, okay? When I say three things, it could be, what would you like to transform from one opposite to another opposite? So let's say as an example that, we'll just take anger as an example, okay? Let's say that you've been experiencing a lot of anger, and that's something that you want to transform into the opposite, which might be for you, you know, calmness or peacefulness, you know, or serenity. So what you're going to do is you're going to get an image of when you were angry on your left side, okay? So basically see on your left side an image of you when you're displaying that particular state of mind, that particular way of being. So you get that and you notice what you look like, and you notice what you are, you know, you see what you are, how your body is, or what you look like when you're angry. You might hear some things like what you would say when you're angry. You try to get a full representation of what that is from your memory. And then what you're going to do is, after you have that, you're going to go over to your right side and you're going to envision the opposite of that, the calmness. You're going to notice how easygoing you are, how relaxed you are, how serenity is you, and you are serenity. You're one with that. Okay?
So you try to picture a situation where you are in that mind state? Like
Yeah.
That?
Yeah. What the Dalai Lama says, he's been doing this for years, and he says when he does this, and he practices this on a regular basis, basically being able to notice that trait of, you know, whatever it is, anger, or, you know, many different traits that we can experience being human beings, as soon as he notices the opposite of that within himself, it's easy to make the switch and realize, you know, what is the better state. You become, you know, almost appalled at, wow, that doesn't work, that's not good, that just doesn't fit with me anymore, so this is me, and it becomes you. Okay? It could be any number of different things. I'll give you an example here. I wrote down a few that, you know, so on the left side you might notice jealousy, and then on the right side it's happy for someone else's success. You know, it could be if, you know, you have a tendency to be bigoted, you know, then it would be all embracing on the right side. Angry, joyful, stupid, brilliant. You know, if you have challenges at times with self-confidence, or you feel down on yourself, then you notice the brilliance of who you are and what you've done. You know, because we all have different experiences. We all have these traits within us that we experience from time to time, but it's not getting stuck in the ones that are going to keep your energy down low and keep you held back, keep you imprisoned into, oh, well, that's, you know, that's what I am. You identify with that, and that affects you moving forward. So you switch over and embrace the positive, the more wholesome aspect of you. If you've experienced clumsy, you feel clumsy, then, you know, on the right side, notice how graceful you are, and be that image, and, you know, feel that, notice that, and make that a part of you. Unsatisfied, on the right side, contented. So these are just examples. So let's try that first of all. Let's do it with impatience, okay? Let's take impatience. And what I want you to do is go ahead, and as you're sitting there, on your left side, even if you might be the most patient person in the world, okay, but get an image of you being impatient for a second. Or if you can't recall an image, go ahead and just see something that would, you know, make sense to you being impatient. And get that on your left side, and notice the you who's impatient. Notice how you would be if you were impatient. You could see it as a mini movie almost. Or if you can't see a movie, you might see still pictures, but you can see the facial expressions, body expressions, you can see the face. Notice what you might be saying to yourself if you were impatient. When you've got a full representation of what impatient is, from your memory or as you create it there now, I want you to go ahead and now switch over to the right side, and the opposite of being totally patient. totally at peace. There's room for everything. Notice how the you appears on the right side, how you look as you're totally patient. Totally calm. Totally accepting. Notice it in still pictures or a movie, how you might move, how you think, what you might say. The difference in feeling. And just hold that now in your consciousness. And notice how good it feels. Okay. Any comments about that? How was that for you?
I just found that with the impatience, well, I was going to do that anyway, but when I found with the impatience, it's like usually you're angry. I found that there was anger coming up when I was impatient.
Okay.
And usually I get that when I'm in traffic, because today it's just that everybody's driving. Even if somebody's driving slow, you go home, oh, why are they driving so slow? I guess you're not going to get there any faster, but it's just.
They're not moving fast enough for me.
And then you got to be submissive, and if you got to be patient, you got to be submissive and just let it go. But I don't know.
Yeah, accepting. Yeah. Okay, good. Any other observations?
I was an adrenaline addict,
Okay.
and anything like that, rage, anything like that, I would just trigger to get the buzz. It was like God gave me my own needle. That's how I came to look at it after a while.
Yeah.
It sort of took over my life.
Yeah.
Just walking around half cocked, I was
Yeah.
a bad person to bump into, sort of thing. I didn't like that in my life.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah,
Anyway,
grenade, ready to get.
well, I think people just think you're normal, and you're not.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why we have like negative thinkings? The left side and then the other side.
Well, it's the way that the Dalai Lama teaches it, but probably from a neurolinguistic
Yes.
standpoint, when you're envisioning things on the left, you're recalling them. Okay, so you recall things from your past or from your memory, and when you see the opposite on your right, you're creating the new you. You're embracing the new you, and so you're accepting it as this is the new you. So neurolinguistic programming teaches that we recall memories from the left, and we create on the right.
Looking
Oh.
the way people look, they go, oh
Yeah.
Yes,
here.
that's
Yeah,
right.
it's easier to recall things when you're looking over to the left. For the most right-handed people. Sometimes it's the opposite for left-handed.
I think
Yeah.
we were talking about that.
Yeah.
Right.
I seem to go this way.
Yeah, and you can switch it if you're left-handed. You can switch the actual meditation. I mean, the Dalai Lama doesn't say that, but I would imagine that the bigger part of the population is right-handed, and so therefore, and probably the Dalai Lama is right-handed too. So probably that's just the way he did it, and that's why. But if you break it down from a neurolinguistic sort of point of view, it would be because most people recall easier on the left and create more on the right. But for you, it might be opposite since you're left-handed.
Yeah. You pointed it a few times.
Yeah.
You're lying. Oh, you're left-handed.
So I want you to take a minute, just a minute, because we're moving forward here, and write down 3 things that you want to apply this to, and then we're gonna do it together. Okay, so write down 3 things that and you might not have 3, but write down 3 anyways.
Come on now, Terry, you know we all do.
If you don't have one, write that one down. Write down what it is, and then write down the opposite, what it would be. It can also be a physical thing, as in physical discomfort or something like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be just a mental application. Okay, so let's begin this meditation. So I'd like you to take the first thing that you want to work on. I'm going to use directional phrases like left, right. If, Gary, if you want to switch it around, go right ahead, okay? If it works better for you that way. So on your left side, I want you to go ahead and I want you to get an image of that aspect of yourself that you're going to convert, that you're going to change. Go ahead and get a full representation. Notice how you look, notice your gesture, notice your expression. There might be a particular way that you stand, or particular body tension, or not, or you might notice your breathing. Best you can, notice what you would be thinking or what you would be saying as an internal dialogue as you're in that state. Once you have a good representation of that particular aspect of you, go ahead and switch it over to the right now and notice the opposite. Notice all the differences in how you are in this state, in this way of being. From your physicalness to what you say, how you breathe, how you are. Most importantly, notice how much more rewarding it is to be in this state. Now once again, just switch over to the left and notice how you were. Notice that old version of that state of mind that once you used to have. And then just switch it back over to the opposite, the rewarding aspect, and fully become that now. Notice what that's like for you in your body right now as you're embracing that newness, that rewarding, resourceful aspect of you. Okay, and then just allow yourself to clean your slate there and say thank you to yourself for embracing the new aspect and resourceful aspect of who you are. Now look at your paper and take number 2 aspect that you'd like to transform. And go ahead and on the left side, notice what that aspect of state of mind. Get a representation of what it's like to be in that state. Notice what you look like, how you hold yourself, how you breathe. What is it that you're thinking or saying to yourself, or what would you say in that state of mind to somebody else? How does it feel in that state? And now that you have that, go ahead and switch it over to the right and notice the opposite of that for you. Get a full representation of what you look like, what it feels like, how you breathe, how you think differently in this state, and how you speak differently. You might even notice yourself moving through part of your day as this state, and how easy it is for you to do so, how rewarding it is for you to do so. And just for a moment, flip back over and notice that part of you in the past that you used to entertain at some point. You might notice how much more distant it is now, but it's there. And then switch back over to the new you, that new aspect of what you've embraced and accepted here. How much better it is in relation to a feeling and a way of being. You might even notice that it's not just better for you, but it's better for other people that you come into contact with. Okay, and then clean the slate and say thank you for embracing that wonderful aspect of you. And go ahead and just look at your paper and select the third aspect that you'd like to work on. Beautiful thing about this is the more that you practice this, very simple technique, the easier it gets and the more profound that it is. So go ahead and on the left side, notice what it's like to have the representation of that aspect, whatever it might be for you. See what you would be seeing if that was you right now. What you would be hearing if you were thinking to yourself or talking out loud, how you'd be feeling. and you have a full representation of what that's like, go ahead and on the right hand side switch over to the opposite of that, what you would look like. How you'd be holding yourself, how you'd be breathing. What you might be saying as you talk inside and you hear your own self-talk. Or what you might hear as you're talking out loud to other people. Generally how you feel in this opposite state. What it's like for you. And just switch back over for a second and notice if you can notice that old aspect of what you were experiencing before. And then switch back over to the right and notice that aspect of you that is far more rewarding. Might notice yourself moving throughout your day with that rewarding aspect of you, that state of mind. How much more pleasant it is, rewarding. Okay, and then just thank your aspect of you, that state of mind that is moving forward with you. And thank the Dalai Lama for sharing that. And when you're ready, you can come back. Any comments on that?
The farther down the list I went, the harder it was to do it.
Okay.
Number 1 was easy. Number 2, not so much. Number 3, I couldn't do it all.
Okay. Anybody else?
I saw how different I looked whether I was from when I was in the left side to the right side, and just the feeling, the whole feeling of the body. When I moved over to the right, I was so much calmer and peaceful.
All the different traits on that side are all very
Okay. Anything else?
I'm not sure it's my own feeling. It's a scientific science. It's a kind of truth. Because when you said left side, and then my whole left side body, especially my head, left side, I can feel, and then all the something I want to work on come out, but all at my left side. And then you said right side, and then all my right side body and head start to work. I don't know, it's only because myself or.
Okay. Yeah, the imagery of left-right is just to basically place the opposites, right? Just so you get an idea of. So it's kind of like if you've ever seen that cartoon, maybe not, but over here we have a cartoon where you have like the devil on one side and an angel on the other side, and you're in the middle, and they're kind of the devil's saying, this is just obviously a visual representation, right? But hey, you should do this, you should be this way, you should act this way, you should, and then the angels over here going, nah, you should be like this, you should do this, you should do that. And the person's in the middle going, well, what do I do? What do I do? And so what this does is this sort of encompasses all of that, and yet allows you to experience both those, and which is a better state for you to be in, which is a more resourceful state, which is a more rewarding state. And then basically the Dalai Lama says, anybody who can see those two opposites can make an easier choice to be in a better state by holding those two opposites at the same time and noticing them and noticing which one is more rewarding. Any other observations? And there's no right or wrong. I mean, it's all just whatever your personal experience is, and that's great. Anything else?
You feel better about yourself when you're on the right side.
For sure. More self-love.
Yeah.
You're not going to want to be on the left side. I mean, the devil. What are you going to pick? The devil?
Yeah. So, what a great experiment this is in being able to show us that what thoughts we entertain, what state we entertain in our mind, what it does to us. Because just this simple exercise has the ability to try and vibrate differently within us so that we can actually feel better about ourselves, feel more resourceful, but it also will affect the way that our body reacts too. So for people who have high blood pressure, they notice that their blood pressure comes down. There's a whole health representation and effect that takes place when you're in that more resourceful state of mind, because the body and the mind are connected. So this is a really simple exercise that meditation to practice. It doesn't take long, and it's definitely worthwhile to teach your brain which is the better state, which is the better aspect of you to be involved with and to be holding in mind. Okay? The Buddhists obviously believe that if you think about something enough, you become it. Right? Their whole, ever since Buddha's been around, he always said, whatever you think enough of, you will become that. So this is just teaching you, hey, if this is what you think a lot about and it's not serving you, then this is what you need to think more of. This is what you need to be more of here, so that it has a whole different effect on you and it becomes you. And when you see the opposites, it's easier to make the decision at that point, which is better for you.
I think the big thing too is knowing that we absolutely have the choice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I'm in an angry state, why would I want to be there?
Yeah.
Sometimes anger is good. I mean, applied in the right way. You have to think. It is the opposite, left and right. But if there is going to be anger, then maybe you have to just be positive. Sometimes you have to show a little bit of anger, but do it in a positive way.
I don't think it's implying that you neglect what you feel in the moment. It's just implying what you're stuck with all the time, right? So what you're hosting in your mind more of the time. So if you're a type of person that, I'll give you an example. I had a friend who I used to hang out with a lot, and he was so uptight and anxious because he always ran these scenarios through his mind that he had to work and produce at a certain level, and he could never relax. And so that drove him to have a triple bypass. Okay, it just drove him to the point at a young age to have a triple bypass. We're out playing pool one time, and I saw his mind clicking in again. And just playing pool, he was having that representation of, I gotta be better, I gotta do better, I gotta, you know, and I'm watching it, and, you know, finally, a while back he had turned to marijuana, which seemed to relax him because it artificially changed the state of his mind when he obviously smoked it, right? But he had to, you know, he was a school teacher, a professor actually, and you know, he can't go into class high and start teaching in front of a bunch of students. And, you know, so he would keep getting worked up. And we were out playing pool one time, and I couldn't talk to him because his mind was just racing, racing, racing. So finally, it was my shot, and I could see him going on, and I took my pool cue, and I slammed it down on the table. And the loud noise startled him. And I just looked at him, and I said, John, I said, there's got to be a better way to handle this, to deal with this. And that alone, that sort of break state, started him on meditation. And through meditation, he started getting the right representations that served him better. And he found that he didn't need the marijuana as much.
You could meditate on the anger and the left and right brain. Is that what this is about then?
Well, basically, it's being able to hold both and notice what serves you better, and then be more in this state. So it's a meditation. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like choosing between having some salmon or poutine, fries with cheese.
Which is the better?
Which you can have both,
yeah.
or which one?
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to experience the poutine once in a while.
Exactly.
It's what's a better one to be with more of the time.
Right.
So I hope you find that that resource meditation useful. And again, if you practice it, it doesn't take long to practice. Once you get understand it and do it, you can do it in a few minutes alone in any day. So it's good to do.